The 2025 McLaren GTS. It is a monster of a GT car, and here's why. The 2025 McLaren GTS doesn't just show up, it dominates the Grand Touring game. This car takes everything you know about luxury and speed, and it rewrites the script. It's powered by a retuned twin-turbo V8. It delivers raw power, pulse pounding even. The finesse that it has to glide through thousands of miles of road trips without breaking a sweat is also appealing. But here's where it gets interesting. The GTS knows when to chill. The active suspension reads the road like a book, soaking up every bump when the highway stretches out ahead, but then sharpens when the twisties demand attention. It's a dual personality. Smooth operator meets corner carving beast. And this is why I'm fond of it. Inside, unapologetically premium, and you can relax in here for hours. The infotainment system is as smart as the car. It's not overcomplicated. It does the job. Plus, they've dialed down the noise, but not too much. You still get the intoxicating growl of the V8 when you put your foot in it. The GTS is not just a grand tourer, it's a statement. For those who refuse to settle for tame, this car turns every journey into a high-octane adventure. So in a market where we keep taking overly comfortable cars and adding a lot of horsepower to them and calling them a grand tourer, I think what we really want is a supercar that's made to be comfortable, not the other way around. And that's where I think McLaren hit it on the head with this. The sound system itself, the Bowers and Wilkins, I would put it up there. It didn't blow me away for its quality, but it's definitely sufficient. I would say it prioritizes on very crisp and clear treble, and it's very tight. That being said, it doesn't have a very deep bass to it, but I will say that I tried it with several different kinds of music earlier, whether it be pop, or what I like is some kind of country on roads like this, or even classical music. It was very clear, and I did enjoy having that upgraded sound system. So to qualify for a Grand Tour, you need to be able to put your stuff in it. The frunk has always been suitable for 2 weekend bags. Typically leather duffel bags will put all the clothes and shoes that you and your wife will need to go ahead and take a weekend trip. But the rear is also available. Although you can't see the engine compartment, which may seem disappointing to some, it can fit a set of golf clubs and a heck of a lot more stuff. So I do see this as being increased practicality at close to 20 cubic feet of storage. I don't know what else you would actually need to bring on a longer road trip. Now, setting it in active and then putting it into track. The dashboard now gives me a tachometer, and you can feel all of the 626 horsepower that they've boosted this to in 2025. It's an increase of about 14 horsepower. The exhaust, like I said, is taking this very well. I can feel it. Now, is it the raw 720 plus of the 720S, or I think it was 710? No, it's not, but it is damn close. And I would say, knowing that this car has more horsepower than a 600 LT, but has a comfort setting that makes me feel like I'm driving in a 4-door sedan is pretty incredible. I don't want for anything in power with this, and as I said, track mode can still get you scared in this car. Well, the McLaren GTS is low enough to be glued to the road. It's smart enough to lift for driveways. It's kind of like a supermodel in heels that can sprint whenever it's needed. Low, sleek, and shockingly practical. Well done, McLaren. There's a checklist. What is the checklist for a good GT car? For me, the first thing that comes to mind is I don't necessarily need that raw feature any longer. I don't need to feel every nook and cranny of the road, and I don't necessarily need to squeeze every single bit of power out of a vehicle. That being said, there's some sacrifices that are made when I want to maybe one-up somebody in a track setting, or maybe a little bit more of an enthusiastic drive. This car, as I spoke of earlier, will allow that with its track settings and its comfort settings. The other things I'm looking for is that good sound and good stereo system. But the in-cab on this is actually quite quiet. and I'm fond of that as well. So in conclusion, is the McLaren GTS a contender against other Grand Touring vehicles? I say yes, because in my eyes, I want the raw performance that the other vehicles from McLaren offers, but I want the added comfort because I feel like I'm becoming an old man. So with that, I think it is a contender. I think it is a good buy. I think that McLaren did a good job by saying, okay, hey, you can have an unlimited 3-year warranty on this vehicle so that you can go out and actually put a lot of miles on it. And if we're honest, McLarens are really at their best when they are being driven. You shouldn't let these cars sit. That's when people are having issues with them. They're not driving them enough. And so with the higher miles that you're going to get on a GT car, do it. Do it with this one, and do it with all the selectability of whether it's just comfort that you want that day or all the way to track. Because when you unleash over 600 horsepower to do so, I promise you, you're going to have a grin ear to ear. All right, I'm going to get myself in trouble. It may be just a GTS, but it is just a GTS. Interested in test driving this or any of the other cars in this segment? Contact Brett Suter at McLaren of Denver. Thank you.